Well, happy Sunday morning, everybody. Welcome to the Emera Centre North Side in North Sydney. You are watching Nova Scotia Under-15 Major Hockey League action here on High Button Sports. My name is Luke Diamond. Thank you for tuning in for a second helping of the Dartmouth Whalers in Cape Breton here this weekend, playing the Joneljim Cougars, the hosts. And if last night was any indication of how entertaining this late regular season series is going to be, well, we should be in for a good one here for the Sunday morning leg of the weekend doubleheader up here in North Sydney. Joneljim coming away with a 4-2 win on home ice yesterday, only their second win in the last 10 games, breaking a 4-game losing skid at home, as well as their first home win of the 2026 calendar year. They came away with a 2-goal win there, thanks in part to a 3-goal second period. They scored 3 times in about a 5-minute span yesterday. They got help with goals from Captain Sam Graves, Avery Johnston, Kellen Buckley, and Dylan Dixon all chipping in. The Whalers made it interesting late. They had a couple of power play goals in the second period as well. Andy Chip and Carson Johnson with those goals. But in what was a hard-fought third period especially, that's where the score stayed. Very physical matchup, both teams fighting for position here in their final games of the regular season. Each of them only with 7 more games to play. 5 of those for Dartmouth will be on the road, while the Cougars will play their third last game here on home ice of the season, at least before the playoffs. After today's game, they play the Rangers on February 21st and the Novas on February 22nd on home ice. They're on the road next weekend, as are the Whalers. But today, it's all about this one. Cougars are gaining ground on both the Rangers and the Wildcats in the standings with 26 points. They're 4 points behind each of those teams. Meanwhile, the Whalers are alone in 10th place out of 11 teams in the league after the Western Hurricanes, with whom they were tied yesterday, picked up a win in their game against the Martello Wealth Bandits of Bedford. But they'll try to make up that ground here today, looking to even up the series here in North Sydney against the Cougars as we throw it down to the ice for the national anthem. Cougars advance to 8-13-2 on the season. They're 8th place in the Nova Scotia Under-15 Major Hockey League, holding that spot with the win yesterday. The Whalers trying to fight back up the standings from the 10th place position with playoff implications on the line in the home stretch of the campaign. Now let's meet our starting goalies. Lydia Higgs in between the pipes today for the Dartmouth Whalers. She has 3 wins in 12 games here this season, including an .867 save percentage, good for 17th in the league. And for the Cougars, Rylan Landry will get his turn between the pipes. As we get underway here at the Emera Center north side, here we go. Cougars down with the puck after winning the draw early in first. They're right in with it before the Whalers take it back. Dartmouth is in the blue and green uniforms to start this game off. Meanwhile, the Cougars in the home whites. Joneljim played in the pink threads yesterday. It was Special Olympics night here at the Emera Center north side in the first half of this doubleheader, this weekend doubleheader between these teams. Both teams and the league raising some money for Special Olympics Nova Scotia, as well as some local organizations here as part of the group. That's Andy Chip in first on the puck for the Dartmouth Whalers. He had a goal last night, 1 of 2 for Dartmouth in a comeback bid that did fall short. Immediately down the other way for Joneljim, and a huge hit early in the game, throwing that one. Zenon Parks laying the body down on the Whalers' Jack Taylor, who was the recipient of a bone cruncher here on the first shift in North Sydney. 13:44 here to go, still early in the period in this hockey game. Draw will be in the Cougar zone. The back linesman decides to throw out a player. Looks like it will be from the Cougars. And it's won by the Whalers. It's in one player's foot there, but it got away. Up the ice with it in the opposite direction was Dylan Dixon. Over to Zenon Parks, return pass to Dixon. Dylan Dixon had a goal yesterday for the Cougars, so eager to jump in a few of these rushes. We've seen that a lot this weekend. Dixon returns to his blue line over to Dylan Barry, his D partner. Barry's shot is blocked, maybe at his own player. Knocked away by Higgs, her first big save of the game. It's caught up along the net there. Still no whistle as the puck came loose. Higgs desperately trying to cover that one up, but it got away. And the Whalers are out away with it scot-free after that one. Coming across the line was Levi Chisholm, but he is a little too overeager on that one, or at least a teammate or two were. So the Whalers will go offside here. Chances both ways here to start this hockey game off. Whalers getting a little close on top of Rylan Landry's net in the Cougar zone. Cougars trying to return the favor against the Dartmouth Whalers, and it's Landry way out of the net to play that one. Good pass up to his winger. It's held at the line there by a Whalers defender at first, but the Cougars eventually punch it up and out of the zone. Higgs out of the net to play it. Tees it up for a teammate. Rolls around the boards for Jude Sim. It got away from Sim. That's Sam Grace with the puck. Captain Grace adding another goal to his tally yesterday. He has 10 on the season. That leads the team right now. Coming from the blue line especially, a great season for Sam Graves, the Cougars captain. Speaking of leading scorers, that's Mason Wakeham dumping it into the zone for the Dartmouth Whalers. Wakeham leads his team in scoring. He has 13 on the year as well as 27 points, including a league-leading 10 power play goals, which is extra impressive considering plays a lot on the blue line, but this weekend is up on the forward line playing alongside centerman Jack Taylor. Ollie Bruce will carry it into the zone for the Whalers. Great pass to Sear through a pair of legs, and Rylan Landry is able to track it. So the Cougars getting a little bit of a reinforcement here today. Marty McLeod, one of their defensemen, is back in the lineup today. He's missed games over the last few weeks with an injury. So a little extra help there on the back end. Speaking of McLeod, making that play back to his D partner Linus Braun. Getting one of his first shifts of the hockey game here. It's knocked back in the zone. McLeod will be the first man back to it as Landry, the goaltender, comes out to help him. McLeod will stop up and look at his options. Sear goes to throw the hit in behind him on the boards. A good forward check by the Whalers. But Cohen Geezer will retrieve it up at center ice. Geezer, third in team scoring despite missing half the season with a suspension for the Cougars. Thrown in toward the net, and Geezer almost got a stick on that, but the shot was wide. Avery Johnston picks it up and will go in behind the net. Wrap try, and he's going to miss. It was off the pad of Higgs and wide. Marty McLeod kept it in, but only for a millisecond. Jackson LaRue will take it up the center ice for the Whalers, and him and his line mates will head off for a change after keeping that one out. Slapped up along the boards by Braun. Geezer briefly had it in front of the scorekeeper's bench. Went over to Andy Chip of the Whalers, but got away, and the Cougars come back down the other direction. Cohen Geezer picked up the pass from Johnston, but got away with him. A good defensive play there by defenseman Luke Kostopoulos. Kostopoulos will take it himself right through the neutral zone, drop pass to Wakeham. Wakeham's shot is off the shin pad of Dylan Dixon. Back the other way, Lachlan O'Neill up for Zenon Parks. Parks really likes to take it himself here and tried to dance through. He got it back, and on the no-look pass, his teammate O'Neill was charged into the net but couldn't get a stick on it for a quality scoring chance. Chip plays it up and out of the zone for Jack Taylor. Wakeham flanking him far to his left. Intended recipient of the pass. Good stick there by a Cougars defenseman. It was Dixon playing that to the corner. Wakeham relays it up to Henry Craig, and that's padded away. Landry saw that all the way through. 9:52 to play here in the first period. No goals yet. Chances for both teams, though, as Wakeham leaves it off for Taylor. Wakeham had that hit his skate in the slot area, and he couldn't corral that for a shooting chance. And at the end of a long Whalers shift, Parks will take it up for the Cougars. Zenon Parks going up high, a little too high as that's off the glass. Digging that is O'Neill over on the opposite side of the cage, and Higgs holds her post. Whalers now getting some time in the neutral zone, going to hit a wall with Vinnie Sims making a good defensive play. Parks trying to take it in for one more attempt at net. He was late in the shift. Parks very involved early in this game for the Cougars, throwing a big hit in the first shift. Is going to stir things up with the Whalers' Jax Mosher in the corner. As the whistle goes on offside against the Cougars, 9:15, already 7 shots in this game, 4 for the Cougars and 3 in return from the Dartmouth Whalers. Going to be a discussion at the scorekeeper's bench. I don't know if this will mean there will be a penalty. Referees are sorting something out here. The draw will be outside for now, unless we get something additional. And there is going to be a call on the play, it appears, or 2. 5-on-5 is the signal from the referee. But Lachlan O'Neill heading to the box for the Cougars. Alexander Brown the other way for the Dartmouth Whalers. Looks like coincidental cross-checking minors are the call. So it'll stay at even strength here. 9:15 to go in the first period. The draw will be outside. Luke McNeil stepping in to take the face-off for the Cougars. Jack McDougall the other way for the Whalers. He'll win the draw for the road team. Dartmouth relaying it out of their zone. That's going to roll over to Cason Norton-Connors, the defenseman. Alex Boner picks it up in the neutral zone for Joneljim. Opts to flip it back into Norton-Connors. D-to-D pass. It's right through the feet of Ethan Marsh of the Cougars, who is in on the forecheck. Joneljim picks it back up again at the center ice red line. Team's playing a bit of hot potato, exchanging possession back and forth, and that's going to result in an icing. Neither team really getting some solid possession there or making any plays. Both sides will change up the lines. As mentioned, both these teams playing their 7th last games of the campaign. Playoffs is looming. Only one round of playoffs here in the Nova Scotia League. So those teams with wins in their respective series will go to the provincial championship tournament. Now there is a chance that even if you lose your playoff series, you can make the provincial championship. You'd have to be a host of the tournament though, or one of the top teams in the league that also happens to lose your first round series. So we'll need a bit of luck there and help from other teams if that was the case. So seeding all the more important as you're not only playing for the favorable matchup, but that extra chance at squeaking into the provincial championships if the playoff matchups go your way once postseason time comes in the Nova Scotia Under-15 Major Hockey League. It's going to roll on net to Rylan Landry. He opts to cover it up, so a face-off deep in Cougars territory here. Jack Taylor in to take the draw in the O-zone for Dartmouth. And he's going to cleverly take that puck back after securing the tie-up. It's going to go over to Chisholm. Rolls across for Henry Craig. He has some time and space. Craig to the net. Oh, the backdoor attempt for Chip was deflected just wide of the net. Jack Taylor takes a bump from a pair of Cougars here. Keeping the physicality up in this game, much like yesterday. We've seen that on a few instances here midway through this first period. Taylor will walk right in. He hit a lane there and tried to maneuver the backhand, maybe to go up over the shoulder of Landry. But the Cougars goaltender will hold his line. It's a counterattack for Joneljim. Zenon Parks cuts up through the middle, tried to get the shot off, and Lydia Higgs with a good save deflects that wide. It's going to be a 3-on-2 rugby scrum. 5 players bunched up there in the corner, 3 of them from the Whalers, looking to get that puck out of the zone, and they do. That's all the way back in front of the Cougars bench. Linus Braun is at the end of his shift, and he's going to gain the red line and dump it in. Both teams getting a full change in here. At the midway point of the first period, still no score between the Joneljim Cougars and the Dartmouth Whalers. That's off a stick, but at the wrong side of center ice, so it's an icing call against the Dartmouth Whalers here. The coincidental players taking the coincidental minors there, Lachlan O'Neill and Alexander Brown, are coming out of the box here on your screen. Took a couple of cross-checking calls here a couple of minutes ago. Exactly 7 minutes on the clock now in the period. The draw will be the left of the goaltender, Lydia Higgs. Ty Timmonson to take the O-zone draw for the Cougars. They're going to win it. Back to Cohen Geezer, lets a shot go. It's a bobbler as it caught a player's sock on the way to the net, and Lydia Higgs will comfortably glove that, and they'll redo the draw to her left. Timmins lines up for the faceoff. Tied up this time well. Good faceoff effort by Jack McDougall, the centerman counterpart there for the Whalers. Dartmouth will settle things down. Kostopoulos puts it high off the glass. Dylan Barry reaching up to try and hold that line. He's unsuccessful in doing so. Cason Norton Connors down for the Whalers, fires one high off the glass. And it's wide, and Dylan Dixon will settle it down. We heard that whack coming from just off the screen there. It's going to be a slashing call. A big thump you could hear on the audio feed there. It's Cohen Geezer going to the box for the Cougars. He'll set for 2 minutes or less, and for the first time today, the Dartmouth Whalers will get a look on their power play. Coming all the way down to the Cougars zone. In to take the draw for the Whalers is Jackson LaRue on the power play unit. Mason Wakeham to his left and Andy Chip to his right. On the defense, Jack Taylor and Cole Taylor. But we get a draw right away. It's a head contact penalty that will be coming up, and that might bring a premature end to the Whalers' man advantage. It does look like Andy Chip is going to the box for Dartmouth. So that will bring the Whalers' man advantage to an end. We'll get some 4-on-4 action here. Players always like that 4-on-4 action, a little bit of extra space to shimmy shake out there on the ice. Comes back to the Whalers' zone here with Dartmouth having take the penalty. To the right of Lydia Higgs. Luke McNeil loses the draw to Jackson LaRue of the Whalers. Dartmouth will settle it down. Mason Wakeham has the puck and be on his own net. Gonna go for a skate. He has some time. Across the red line, swirling west to east, and then blue, and gains his own. Landry thought he had some time to go out and play the puck, but it's by him. Jack Taylor picked it up and return pass to Wakeham. Dartmouth doing well, set up in the other end. Pops up to Cole Taylor, the shot, that's over the net. Rebound to Mason Wakeham. He's pinned up by Dixon along the boards, and Dixon has the feet taken out from under him. Both referees had that one, and it is a penalty again coming against the Dartmouth Whalers. So now for the first time this morning, the Joneljim Cougars will get a look on the man advantage. This time a 4-on-3 power play. It will be with 5:48 remaining in the period. It'll be that way for a minute 20. They'll actually have a brief 5-on-3 here once Cohen Geezer is out of the box, pending no goals are scored in that time. But a minute 25 until the Whalers get a player back out. So it'll actually be a longer power play than that. almost a full 2 minutes. The Cougars will be on the man advantage. They had won the draw, but a good hustle there from a pair of Whalers penalty killers. Lead man up there is Jack McDougall, making things tough for Dylan Barry, the defenseman. Out there in this power play unit is played up to Sam Graves, quickly in the other way. Graves out front for Avery Johnston, but he lost the footing as he tried to corral the backhand pass. Sam Graves is in tight for the Cougars, played it back to Dylan Barry. 3 defensemen out here of the 4-man power play unit for the Cougars. Got a lot of talent there, an offensive push from the back end as Dylan Barry shot that on net, but Higgs did well to track it and make the save for the Whalers. 39 seconds to go here on this first portion of the Cougars power play. Minute 20 in total that they'll have the extra man out there. But 39 seconds left in the 4-on-3 man advantage. Just over 5 minutes to go here in the period. And a big face-off win for the Whalers, dumping it down the 200 feet. Landry teeing it up for Linus Braun as defenseman. Braun, quarterback in the power play out. Sam Graves up to his right flank, and Graves will pick it up, going in one-on-one. Lets the shot go. That did not miss by much, looking for the short side on Higgs, but the shot was wide. Barry sells it down for Braun in the high slot. Down for Graves. He has some room. Oh, a huge block there from a Whalers defenseman. Henry Craig laying out on the ice to stop that one. 5 seconds before Geezer steps out. 8 seconds before Chip for the Whalers. We're back to 5-on-3 action, but this will only be the case until right about now. So it's 5-on-4 right out of the box is Chip. Geezer looking to get the shot off, and that's off a body in front and wide. Dylan Barry sells it down. 27 seconds left on the Cougars power play. Graves in front. Johnston, rebound. Oh, Geezer was all alone over on the far side, but it was knocked out of his reach before he could get a shot. Braun in the high slot. Let's go through a screen, and I think Higgs got a piece of that. There was a lot of traffic bunched up there in front of the goal by the Cougars. Graves, maybe one more shot, and that's wide. It's hard around the boards. Mason Wakeham opens the door, and he's out of the box. We're back to 5-on-5. Big kill, and that's off the pad of Higgs. Got a fortunate bounce there as Geezer loses a tire in the far corner. Avery Johnston is there to help him out. This penalty kill unit and the power play unit have been out there the entire time, through the entire 2 minutes that the Cougars have been on the power play, and finally they get some changes in. Geezer takes the puck. Johnson charging the net. And Higgs, a very busy couple of minutes for her, and will finally get a breather as the puck takes a deflection up into the netting with 3:20 to go in the period. A couple good looks there for the Joneljim Cougars, but the Whalers stand tall on their penalty kill. A couple of big blocks and a couple of big saves from their goaltender too. She's stopped all 12 here so far as we approach the final few minutes of this first period as Dartmouth wins the draw. It's over to Cole Taylor. Plays it up for his winger. Some good passing there, although the puck bobbles a little bit at the Whalers blue line. Marnie McLeod leads off for Dylan Dixon. Finds Alex Boner at center ice. He's going to lose it, but his teammate gets it back. Ty Timmins will back up. It's going to be another penalty coming to the Dartmouth Whalers here. The arm is in the air with Ryland Landry going to his bench. The Whalers still can't secure possession of the puck as Timmins will come up the ice with it. The extra attacker is out for the Cougars. Works back to Alex Boner, and we finally get a whistle behind the play. It's a slashing call that's going to come against Dartmouth. So with 2:41 to go in the period, the Cougars will go right back to the power play after coming oh so close a couple of times on their previous advantage. Much similar to yesterday, there's only one first period goal in yesterday's game between these two teams, so a low scoring time of game. But a chance for the Cougars to open up the scoring here on home ice. Geezer, big face-off win, gets it back to Linus Braun. Sam Graves picks it up at the face-off circle. Huge block there by Cason Norton Connors, and that'll be enough for the Whalers to dig it away and knock it out down to the Cougars zone, down the other end of the ice. Braun leads it up for Graves. Graves across the line, looking to beat Norton Connors. Opts to wheel back, walks out from the corner to the close side point for Braun. He's at the top of the slot, through a crowd. Higgs tracks and makes a good save. Over to Graves now, from the corner. Oh, He was looking for the top shelf there over top the glove of Higgs. And a huge hit there. That one was thrown by Jax Mosher, throwing the body on Linus Braun. Over to Graves, tried to get the one touch on it. Norton Connors trying to clear that out. He's going to take a check from Avery Johnston. It's finally gotten up by the penalty killer Cole Taylor, who shoots it down the ice, and the Whalers will change up. 59 seconds now to go on the most recent Cougars power play. Cohen Geezer walks around, tried to toe drag, but it bounces past everybody, and Zenon Parks will pick up the puck offside, and we'll get a whistle with 49 seconds to go on the penalty to Ollie Bruce of the Dartmouth Whalers. Minute 30 to go in the first period here. The Cougars really pressing late in this first period. Of course, thanks in part to these power play opportunities, but still haven't beat Lydia Higgs. Zenon Parks dumped into the zone. Ty Timmins will retrieve on the far side. The second unit power play now out here for Joneljim. Timmins wheels around, up for Dylan Dixon. Dixon over to Ethan Marsh. Marsh will curl around, leaving for Dixon. Dixon through a crowd, rebound. Oh, what a stop by Lydia Higgs. Kick save and a beauty on Ty Timmins, who was uncontested in front of the Whalers net. Marsh back to Dixon. Over the close side for Timmins, looking for the shot. It missed everybody, including the passing targets. 10 seconds before Bruce jumps out for Dartmouth. Dixon through a crowd. Higgs knocks it down. The rebound is cleared. Dixon holds the line. Going to the close side for Timmins. And he did not miss by much. Looking for the far side pass. Higgs blocker. And another big penalty kill for the Whalers here in the latter half of this first period. 32 seconds now to go in the opening frame. Pass for Timmins was errant and wide. Chisholm scoops that up on the far side for the Whalers. Makes the deep pass up for Andy Chip. He's going to take a bump from Graves. Sets it up the other way. Zenon Parks, partial 3-on-1. Buckley emerges but couldn't handle the puck as the pass came through. Some good defense there from the Whalers to keep that out cleanly without taking a penalty as well. But one last chance for the Cougars. Buckley with a shot into the mask of Higgs. And that will bring an end to the first period, as well as a bump after the whistle goes. Throwing a hit there late from Parks to bring an end to the opening 15. No score yet in this one. 17-6 the shots for the Cougars as they put a late push on, but can't strike in the opening 15. Teams will take a water break, and so will we. We'll be back in just a moment for the second period. And welcome back for the second period here between the Dartmouth Whalers and the Joneljim Cougars. We're here at Emera Centre North Side in North Sydney after 15 minutes of play. Still scoreless between these two teams. The Cougars trying to win a second straight game here on home ice. The Whalers looking to even the weekend series here on the road away from Dartmouth. But we're still yet to have an icebreaker in this one. There was a couple of late Whalers penalties in that first period. Led to a couple of good opportunities on the power play for Joneljim. But their penalty killers, as well as goaltender Lydia Higgs, making some huge stops and defensive efforts here in that first period to keep the score at where it is. Wakeham dumps it into the zone. Cougars goaltender Landry leaves it off for Vinny Sims. Stripped of the puck though by Andy Chip for Dartmouth. Chip relays it down low for Jack Taylor. He's going to take a bump. Taylor drugged down behind the play. Refs say no call. That's through a crowd. It bounces in and out of the glove of Rylan Landry. Down to get it is Kostopoulos. Tight angle shot. Perhaps catching Landry a little off guard, but he gets the blocker on it. Jack Taylor and co getting some good pressure on the Cougars on the first shift of the second period. Sam Graves finally takes it away though for Joneljim. He's going to lose it to Kostopoulos at the close side half wall. He's in on a good pinch. Cougars try to break out on the other side of the ice this time. Brought across the line where Lachlan O'Neill will pick it up, but he lost it in his own feet. Cole Taylor throwing the check on him, and the Cougars will get a change in. Whalers trying to catch them on the change. Jax Mosher picks up the stretch pass. Mosher in on the backhand. He's pursued by a pair of Cougars defenders, and they're back up in time to keep that puck from getting to the net. Cole Taylor holds the line. Only for a second. It's brought out the other way in the counterattack. Cohen Geezer is in one-on-one. The ref in there too. Geezer on the drop pass attempt for Dixon. Plays it to Timmins toward the net, and that will roll wide of the post of the blocker side of Higgs. Whalers get it up across the line to center ice. Timmins will re-enter the zone with it for Joneljim. Drop back to Avery Johnston, kicked away. Geezer all alone in front of the net. Lydia Higgs at point blank range will make the save and force the face-off to her left. With 18-16 go in the period, no shortage of chances or energy to start off the second period. Either these teams all weekend have been going back and forth. No difference here so far. Remember, the first period was 15 minutes. So you've been seeing all season long in Nova Scotia under 15 major hockey. With the second and third periods being played 20 minutes long, there will be a flood between the second and the third frames here as it's iced down the rink by the Dartmouth Whalers. So we'll get another draw down in away territory. Cougars on the road next week. They'll play the Western Hurricanes in Shelburne, one of their longest road trips of the year, on February 14th. On their drive home, they'll stop New Glasgow, face off against the Warewell Bombers on February 15th. Only one game next weekend for the Dartmouth Whalers. They'll head up to East Hants to play the Rangers. Skeezer lets one rip in and out of the glove of Lydia Higgs. She made a good save though. Flicked up over the net by Johnston, perhaps looking for that Michigan-style flick up as Ty Timmins swung at it. Couldn't get it though. It's shot from the corner all the way around for Braun, who does well to hold the line. Looking for Avery Johnston down low, is out of his reach. Rolls around for Marty McLeod. McLeod up in the air. Johnston picks it up in behind the cage. Casey Norton Connors checking him in behind the boards. Cone Geezer comes in to help his Cougars teammates. Good play by McLeod to hold the line. Second attempt to hold it, but it finally came out as the Whalers punched it across the line. But Geezer's right back in with the head of steam, taking that in. Howe had the puck, but he was knocked off it by Sear with Geezer going to the net. Or going to the ice, rather, as it bounced away from the net. Slapped back into the zone by Braun, but he was on the wrong side of center ice. He didn't look too happy about that. But the draw will come all the way down to the Cougars' end for a change that time. Looked like the Cougars were trying to get a change in. The Whalers coaches were quick to call them out on that, as they sorted out who's supposed to be out there and who isn't, with 17:06 to go here in the period. So a good couple of shifts there to follow up for the Cougars to open this period. Still pushing for that first goal of the game. But now the Whalers will get a look down the other end as well. Draw will be to the right of Rhineland Landry, the goaltender. Ty Timmins taking the D-zone draw for Joneljim out there on a long shift. He's going to beat his centerman counterpart, Jack Taylor, in the face-off circle, but comes back to Dartmouth, right to the net with it. A good tip opportunity for Jude Sim, who was parked out in front of the net for Dartmouth. Cole Taylor and Cohen Geezer in a foot race. Geezer's going to win it. Look to go up high in the mask area over the head of Lydia Higgs. But that is up into the mesh, and finally some tired Cougars bodies will head to the bench here in the long change here in the second period. Draw to the right of Higgs. This time Kellen Buckley in to take the face off against Jack Taylor. And it's won by the Cougars. Johnson was up on the forecheck, trying to knock that away for the Whalers, who will finally come away with it. It's Carson Johnson. flicks it down to the zone. Way out to play the net was Landry. He was outside the trapezoid area behind the net. A rule that's not really called in this league. I don't believe that's a rule at the under 15 level. So he was good not to take a delay a game penalty or of some sort here for the Cougars. Ethan Marsh coming in 1-on-2 for the Cougars to get it into the zone. Sam Graves holds the line for Joneljim. Only for a second though, as the Whalers finally pick up the puck here. Levi Chisholm forces that out of the zone. Tried to get it up to Jack Taylor, but it's out of his reach. So Kellen Buckley, the centerman, will settle it down for the Cougars, as Zenon Parks was a little twisted up on as the stretch pass option. Tried to pick it up on the backhand and then to the forehand. But it'll be an icing call against the Cougars as he's unable to touch up there. Shots are 20-9 in favor of Joneljim, controlling most of the last 10 to 15 minutes of play here in this game. Draw to the left of Rhineland Landry, the goaltender. Jack McDougall in to take the draw for the Whalers, and he's going to win it. Casey Norton Connors through a crowd. Kicked away with the left pad of Landry. As Marsh tries to flutter that up and out of the zone. Can't quite do it. It'll go back to his defenseman Graves. Checked up the boards. As Graves gets it in return, but Kostopoulos, a good pinch for the Whalers, but gives it away to Graves. And that's off the back of the linesman here. Those never feel good. But it was enough to get the puck out of the zone for the Cougars and relieve a little bit of pressure there. Alexander Brown holds in the line, forces a turnover to Jack McDougall, who is drugged down. There's going to be no call on that one. Vinny Sims takes it out the other way. Now a counterattack for the Cougars. Zenon Parks went for the fake slapper. That also fooled his teammate Kellen Buckley, who's coming in to his left side, out of sight. And it'll be an offside call against the Joneljim Cougars here with about 5 minutes gone here in the second period. Still no score here between the Dartmouth Whalers and the Joneljim Cougars. Still lots of hockey to play here in the second frame, just getting going in this period. Whalers win the draw. That's up and off the glass. It's going to float by Dylan Barry, who hustles back to get that one. Barry up off the boards is past LaRue. A trio of Dartmouth Whalers coming in to battle for that puck, and they're going to get it. Sear skating away from pressure as Barry pins him to the boards. Swung around the boards by Dixon, held at the line by Levi Chisholm. Makes a move, stutter steps to one side, and that's off a body in front. Looked to hit Ollie Bruce, who is battling away in the slot area. Barry, it works around the boards for Dylan Dixon. Dixon right on the table, Lachlan O'Neill. The puck was bouncing a little bit. Both teams struggling to settle it down here as Henry Craig tried to clear it out of the zone, but Chisholm mishandled it, and Lachlan O'Neill will forecheck it down the corner for the Cougars, who secure it in Whalers territory. O'Neill trying to make a play with it, but the puck got away from him. Alex Boner, no look to Luke McNeil, playing it up to Lachlan O'Neill. McNeil down the corner, going one-on-one, leaves it for O'Neill at the face-off on the close side for Dixon, who's calling for it on the far side. Dixon had a goal yesterday for the Joneljim Cougars. Very eager to shoot that puck whenever he gets the chance. Luke McNeil mishandled it in the middle of the ice, and finally the Whalers will get it up and out of their zone. Dylan Barry, quick to put it back in. Forward for the Whalers will change up, as will a bunch of them for the Cougars. Big hit there from Geezer. Caught a piece of a Whalers player as Dartmouth takes it out the other way. It's Jackson LaRue going to spin around. Tried to flutter it back in for Mason Wakeham, but he was out of his reach. Coming in, big hit there from Gavin Sear on the Cougars defender. Cole Taylor plays it, rebound, Wakeham right on top of the net, and Rhineland Landry took a couple of shots there, and we're going to get some pushing and shoving after the whistle as Rhineland Landry stood tall for a couple of scoring chances out of nowhere. They're originating from a Whalers point shot as he sorted out whether there'll be any penalties or the like after the whistle. I don't believe there will be, but the net was also dislodged, and in the craziness after the whistle, draw will remain in the Cougar zone to the left of Rhineland Landry. A couple of his biggest saves of the morning here so far in this hockey game. It's tie up off the draw in the feet of both the centermen, as Linus Braun plays it behind the net for Marty McLeod. McLeod skating it himself up down the ice. McLeod's first game in a few weeks here for the Cougars. Big return for him in this game. Eager to get back at it. The Whalers will stifle the attack from the Cougars and come down on their own counterattack perhaps. Mason Wakeham in pursuit of the puck. Linus Braun trying to clear that, but the puck skipped over his stick blade. On the second attempt, he'll get out the center ice, but no further. Marty McLeod, pursued by Wakeham, going to dodge the check there, but gives away in the process off the stick of Wakeham in pursuit of Braun and behind the net, and he's going to trip him up. So the Cougars going to their fourth power play of the game here as we approach the midway point of the second period. A good chance here to perhaps finally open up the scoring in what has been a tightly contended game so far. Wakeham, his second penalty of the game, this time for a trip. 12:23 on the clock in the middle stanza. Draw to the left of Lydia Higgs, and it's won by Geezer, and the Cougars will get set up. Linus Braun, shot down the middle, and that's off the leg, I believe, of his own teammate. Hit the right leg of Avery Johnston, as it'll come back down the other way with the Whalers clearing. Sam Gray's on the far side. Big hit by Cohen Geezer. Both referees had that one. It's an interference call. It was a big hit, but in the sport of hockey, that's illegal. The puck was nowhere near him, and Cohen Geezer will head off the ice here. And he might be picking up another call here that time. The referee signaling 4 minutes, also with the unsportsmanlike conduct signal. And he made an extra call after the play. He's exchanging some words. And if I saw that correctly, a misconduct is going to be charged to Cohen Geezer as he kept talking with the officials after the play. He's pretty upset after that one, seeing a couple of sticks be knocked down there in the tunnel over by the Cougars bench. So we'll get some 4-on-4 action here once we return to play for 1:41. At that point, Mason Wakeham will step out of the penalty box for the Dartmouth Whalers, and it'll be an extended power play for Dartmouth. The penalty box door is still open on the Cougars bench. Initially, Geezer's out there before he went to the dressing room after taking a misconduct. So the Cougars have to send a player to serve the interference call and the unsportsmanlike conduct. Marty McLeod will be the player to do that for the Cougars. So the draw will be down in Joneljim territory. Ryland Landry waiting for the face-off. The scorekeeper's bench still not quite clear on something, ringing the buzzer. Wakeham is still in the box, talking over something as well with the scorekeepers. Looked like it was minor though, so we'll finally go down low in Cougars territory for the draw. Or will we? And now we are. LaRue taking the face-off for the Whalers. 4-on-4 action for the next 1:41. Ty Timmins taking the draw in the D zone for the Cougars, and LaRue will win the draw for Dartmouth. Henry Craig, top of the slot. That's off a shin pad, and over to a Cougars player coming up out of the zone. Ty Timmins to the middle of the ice, leaves it for Sam Graves. Graves return pass to Timmins in the corner. Rolls around for Avery Johnston, going up against Henry Craig, the big defenseman for the Whalers. Held at the line by Linus Braun, contending with the bouncy puck here as Johnston settles it down for the Cougars. Lets the shot go. Good blocker save by Lydia Higgs, who stuck the arm up there to knock that shot up and into the air. Whalers get a little bit of time and space to work with here now. A little bit of extra ice here for the next minute in 4-on-4 action. Good play there by Jack Taylor, doing some cool plays as he is hit hard by Linus Braun to the ice. A bone cruncher from the Cougars defenseman. Sam Gray's taking it back up the other way for Joneljim. Drop pass, or he thought about it anyway, looking for Ty Timmins as Graves is pinned to the boards. Timmins tried to play it back, but instead gave it away to Taylor. Jack Taylor passed off for LaRue, but stripped of it at the opposing blue line, and Sam Grays will come away with it. Maybe a breakaway, partial break. Grays fell down, and where's the puck? It's in the crease. Nobody knows where it is. The arm is in the air. We might get a penalty shot here, depending on the call. It's not going to be the case, only a holding minor. So the Cougars will get a brief power play of their own in about 25 seconds worth of a 4-on-3 power play before Mason Wakeham comes out of the box for the Whalers, for which time we will go to another long stretch of 4-on-4 action. Pending any other penalties, of course, you never know. Referees are sorting out who's guilty of the penalty there. And it'll be Henry Craig going to the box. He's not very happy about it. He was pointing back at the play in a discussion with the official. 10:48 still go in the second period, and no goals yet. But the Cougars will get a brief 25-second power play here. 4-on-3. Chance to get a shot or two on. And they win the draw. Dylan Dixon out there with Dylan Barry to his left. And Kellen Buckley to his right. Dixon at the top of the point, plays down for Buckley. Buckley with the shot in, rebound. Oh, kicked away by Higgs. Great right toe save there to just barely knock it out of the reach of the Cougars attackers. Now, Wakeham stepping out of the box, so we're back to 4-on-4 action, but Buckley will walk in. Kellen Buckley had a goal yesterday for the Joneljim Cougars and a couple of great scoring chances there. But Higgs continues to stand tall between the pipes for the Whalers. She's having an excellent game already with 25 saves on this Cougars offensive push. Face-off will now be to her left, deep in Whalers territory. Luke McNeil in to take the draw. He's going to go up against Alexander Brown. And Brown and co for the Whalers will dump it out of the zone. But remember, it's even strength, so the icing call will stand and will redo the draw back 200 feet the other way. Now 10-11 in the period, midway point in the second period. Ethan Marsh now in to take the face-off for the Cougars. Going up against Alexander Brown. And Marsh, big face-off win. In the O-zone, Dixon over to Barry. Barry looking for a shooting lane. That's off the leg of his teammate McNeil and wide. Played in down low. Going to glide past McNeil as the Whalers try to chip it up into the zone. Mason Wakeham up with a head of steam. Dylan Dixon under some pressure here from the big Dartmouth forward. Wakeham getting a little bit of help there from his teammate Brown, and he manages to get the shot off on Ryland Landry, wrapping up and out of the corner for a good scoring chance for the Whalers. But Landry as well standing tall. His 14th save of the hockey game here for the Joneljim Cougars. 9:42 in the second period. Still 0-0 between Joneljim and Dartmouth. Cougars are up and away with it off the face-off. Alex Boner carries it himself. Tried to flick it around a Dartmouth defenseman and make it a maneuver, but the Whalers instead get it. Knocked down with the stick of O'Neill. It's not a high stick, so play carries on. O'Neill from the sharp angle, paid away easily by Higgs. Got away from Dixon, who was also up there on the forecheck. Dartmouth will settle it down. Norton Connors picks it up in front of the penalty box. It's going to rim it around as a couple of tired Whalers players head off the ice. Sam Gray's leading the charge up the other way. He's going to burn a defender to one side and keeps it up, going up against Cole Taylor of the Whalers. Finally has to turn around and settle things down as Gray's now looking for a shot opportunity. Big block there by Cole Taylor for Dartmouth. Rebound attempt blocked away by Higgs as Alex Boner got the shot off. O'Neill causing havoc in front of the net for the Cougars that time. He felt he could have had a better chance, slapping the stick going off the bench as the Whalers hold off the Cougars attack. Off the skate of Cole Taylor, he couldn't handle it, and the Cougars will take it away. Looking for the shot down the ice, that's out of the reach, but apparently close enough to Jack Taylor that the icing was waved off. 12 seconds left in the Whalers power play. Getting a brief one here as Marty McLeod had taken a penalty. Actually, pardon me, McLeod was the player that was serving the double minor penalty to Cohen Geezer. Geezer went off the ice with a misconduct penalty as the Whalers trying to get some pressure on here with play returned to even strength. Mason Wakeham picks it up. He has some time and space. Lets the shot go. A heavy one. Miss on the blocker side of Landry, and that's going to roll up and out of the zone. Cole Taylor played it up and out of the zone over to Ethan Marsh. Marsh makes the move, trying to throw the backhand pass to the far side where Johnston was waiting, but it was picked off there by Cole Taylor for the Whalers. Sear into the zone. Gavin Sear drops it back where Ollie Bruce was coming in support. The pass never got to him, and the Cougars keep it away. Ethan Marsh looking for the stretch up for Johnston. He was offside anyway as it was picked off by a Whalers defender. Bit of a logjam in the neutral zone now for both of these teams. Kostopoulos looking to dump that in the zone. He doesn't get it very far as Dylan Dixon rims around the boards for Johnston. Johnston in front of the Whalers bench. Centering pass up for Luke McNeil. There's going to be a penalty call coming up, a slashing penalty with 6:59 to go in the second period. And the Whalers are going back to the box here. Another power play coming up for the Joneljim Cougars. Gavin Sear not happy about that one. Talking things over with the official. But the draw will come down to Dartmouth territory to the right of the goaltender, Lydia Higgs. Ty Timmins in to take the face-off. In on that first power play unit in place of Cohen Geezer. And he's going to win the draw. Linus Braun over to Dylan Barry. Barry dropped down to Ty Timmins. Top of the slot for Braun. Looking for a shooting lane. Gets it in. The rebound was not covered up by Higgs as Timmins swung at it, but the shot went wide. A trio of Cougars in there trying to get that puck out. Good effort by Henry Craig to try to kill some time off this penalty. Ty Timmins rolls around, slides it along the boards to Barry, who's waiting at the close side half wall. Braun is going to wait. Pack pedals, shot in on net, and Higgs sees it all the way through. Another big save, and a great game continues for Lydia Higgs in between the pipes for the Whalers. 6:21 to go in the period. Still another minute and 23. Minute and 23 to go in this most recent Cougars power play. Tie up off the face-off. The winger is in to try and support. Dylan Barry comes away with it. Cross-ice pass to Sam Grace, who's waiting at the far side. Braun played down for Barry at the top of the circle. Braun, looking for that shooting lane, drops for Barry. Shot attempt. That's just wide of the net, looking for that far side glove area. Braun winds up, heavy shot along the ice, up in the air, and it's in the net, but immediately waved off as Ty Timmins' stick was up in the air, and that's going to result in not only a no-goal call, but a face-off outside of the zone here, with 57 seconds still to go on the power play for Joneljim. And it did make contact with Ty Timmins' stick high in the air. We'll call waved off. The second power play unit will come out for the Joneljim Cougars, centered by Kellen Buckley. Taking the draw, he's going to go up against Jackson LaRue, leading the penalty killers for the Whalers. And it's won by Joneljim. Comes back to Zenon Parks. Cross-ice pass for Ethan Marsh. Flung it across for Buckley. He couldn't handle it, though. A little too much mustard. Jack Taylor takes a huge hit from Zenon Parks in front of his own bench. Parks has been throwing the body a lot in this Sunday game for the Cougars. Lachlan O'Neill, the big power forward, will carry it in the zone. Lets it go along the ice, and Higgs was ready for it. A nifty pad save off her left foot. Dixon played down for Zenon Parks. Tried to swing it to keep it in the zone. Is kept in by Dixon. Quarterback in the second power play unit. Only 14 seconds to go. The shot attempt from Marsh, and that's going to land on top of the goal for a stoppage with 10 more seconds to go before the Whalers' Gavin Sears steps out of the box. Still waiting for our first goal in this game. There's been no shortage of chances. 31-16 the shots in favor of the Cougars. Had a little more power play time, so that contributes to it. They'll get a draw down in low in Whalers territory, and Dartmouth does well to win the draw, and they'll clear it down the ice here as the power play comes to an end. Vinny Sims is going to hold that up and dumps it right back into the Dartmouth end. Mason Wakeham, spinorama pass up for Chip. A good one-handed pass up the middle of the ice to Jack McDougall. McDougall looking to return that to Chip, but didn't quite have a sense of where he was on the ice. He was a bit behind the play as Wakeham holds the line. Wakeham played up for McDougall. Flicked it toward the net. It was a slow roller as it bounced over to Andy Chip, but went by him, and the Cougars will take it up and out of the zone. We're back to 5-on-5 action here with 4:28 to go in the second period. Luke McNeil first on that puck down low. Played up for Ty Timmins at the top of the circle. That's off a stick shaft and wide. Wakeham back at the defense position. He's played most of the weekend for Dartmouth as a forward and sets up a 2-on-1. It's Jax Mosher, and Mosher! And it's under the goaltender, Landry. The referee didn't see it. Dartmouth is celebrating. They think it's in. And they're pointing out of the zone. No goal. It's waved off. A couple of Whalers players came running off the bench, pleading for a goal call. It fell under the goaltender, Ryland Landry, as Jax Mosher had a golden chance to open the scoring for the Whalers. But instead, it looks like he's going to be heading to the penalty box here. So the Cougars, another power play, this time with 4:08 left in the period. Referees are talking over something. Making sure the call is sorted out. Didn't quite see what the penalty is for. It looked like he continued digging after the penalty was called. The no goal call is confirmed, so perhaps the puck at some point did cross the line, whether before or after the whistle, or legally or illegally. Referees are explaining the call now to the Dartmouth bench. They've had to kill off a few consecutive penalties here against the Cougars. Not the most fortunate period for them in terms of the penalty box train. As we'll finally get going again here. Another Joneljim power play. Pushing hard here to open the scoring in this hockey game late in the second period. They've had a couple of good chances here as they get tied up there by the penalty killers. And Jack Taylor will shoot down the ice for the Whalers. Jax Mosher was the player who was in on that breakaway seconds ago for Dartmouth. He's going to sit in the penalty box here. Sam Graves enters the zone for the Cougars. Going up against Henry Craig, the defender. He's going to backpedal and play it back to Dylan Barry. Barry down for Ty Timmins. Barry takes the return pass. Some close pressure there from the penalty killer, Alexander Brown. It's Linus Braun handles it at the blue line. Graves has some time to shoot. Scores! Sam Graves finally breaks the ice for the Cougars. A power play goal to open the scoring here with 3:28 to play in the second period. It's 1-0 for the Joneljim Cougars. That's what Sam Graves has been doing all season for this team. The leading scorer, 26 points on the year. His 11th goal of the campaign. He's one of the top 4 leading defensemen in the league in the scoring race. And he does a lot from the blue line for this team. The captain, Sam Graves, opens the scoring for the Cougars here. Finally getting that elusive first goal of the hockey game for both these teams as Ryland Landry is way over his net to play it. Lachlan O'Neill exits the zone. Kostopoulos clears it right back in on Landry's net. Thinks about covering it. He finally will. Getting a late jab there from Carson Johnson, who saw the loose puck, is going to get a shove after the whistle from some Cougars defenders. As the play is covered up and stopped with 3:07 left in the period. Just moments ago, Sam Graves strikes on the power play for the Cougars, finding the back of the net, cleanly beating Higgs to the blocker side, a well-placed wrister, to open the scoring here in what has been a very, very close game. And the Cougars take their first lead of the afternoon. Joneljim wins the draw and is up out of the zone with it tape to tape to Lachlan O'Neill. He'll walk in the zone, coming in on the backhand. He's going to lose an edge, though. O'Neill laying down. Luke McNeil plays a pass up to Dixon. Long-range shot, and Lydia Higgs is well out of her net. to make that save. And O'Neill takes a bump after the whistle, so a little bit of antics after the whistle goes in the Dartmouth zone. Don't think that'll turn into anything further. But it's been a very physical weekend of hockey between these two clubs. We'll see where the face-off comes to. And it looks like indeed there will be a penalty off the play. Lachlan O'Neill hanging in the penalty box here for 2 minutes or less with 2:49 to go in the frame. Maybe a roughing after the whistle call. But either way, the Whalers are going to get a power play of their own here late in the second period. A prime opportunity to score their first of the hockey game. They struck twice on the man advantage yesterday. What a time to do it here late in the second period as Wakeham wins the draw back for the Whalers. Out there with Cole Taylor walking in is Jack Taylor. That's off a leg. Rebound bounced out to Cole Taylor at the point. Jackson LaRue playing at the close side half wall. Jack Taylor walks in. The Cole Taylor's shot. That's off a stick and wide. First player back on it is Andy Chip. Chip pursued closely behind the net by Dylan Barry as it rolls around to Jack Taylor along the yellow bumper along the boards. Cole Taylor being pursued closely there by Ty Timmons, the penalty killer. That's blocked by Braun, and Braun tried to chop it away, but rolls over to Chip for the Whalers. Andy Chip and Co for Dartmouth, keeping the pressure on here. Minute 15 to go on this power play now as LaRue looks at his options, playing back and forth with Cole Taylor to Jack Taylor now. Crossways for LaRue. Whalers trying to open up a shooting lane as Wakeham takes a tumble in the slot area. LaRue lets the shot go, and that's off the leg of Dylan Barry in front of the net. The Whalers hold it, and even on the second clearing attempt, Cougars can't get it out, and they do that time, but it's going to go right into the Dartmouth bench, so the face-off will remain inside the Cougar zone with 50 seconds left on this penalty to Lachlan O'Neill. Minute 38 still to play in the second frame. Closely fought, only one goal all game to show for it though. Sam Gray scoring a couple of minutes ago on the most recent Cougars power play. Draw to the right now of Ryland Landry. LaRue is in to take the draw, but I think he's going to be kicked out here. Mason Wakeham will line up instead, going up against Callum Buckley, and Wakeham with a big draw victory to set things up for the Dartmouth Whalers again. Cole Taylor, far side for Jack Taylor. First unit still out there for Dartmouth. There's a stick line on the ice in front of the net as Chip is knocked down to the ice. He wanted a call. He's signaling for it. He's not going to get it. Wakeham leaves it off for Cole Taylor. Looked like he's going to wind up for a second. It doesn't happen. Over to Jack Taylor. Some heavy battles going on in front of Landry's goal. Played over the far side for Jack Taylor. It's going to force the shot through, and Landry makes a big save. Rebound came to Wakeham in behind the Cougars' goal. Final minute of play now in the first period. Second period, pardon me. As Wakeham shots off a stick and wide, and we're finally going to get a penalty coming against here in the Cougars. Stop! The rebound over the head of Landry. He didn't see it though. So we're going to get another penalty against the Cougars here in a moment as we briefly return to 5-on-5 action with O'Neill jumping out of the box. But just as he came out of the penalty box, it's going to be another Cougar going to the sin bin with 40 seconds to go in the second period. It's an interference call that was committed in front of Ryland Landry's net. They're still figuring out which player is the one that'll go to the box. That's why you heard the buzzer. The referees didn't send anybody to the box. They're going to talk over perhaps who the guilty player was. Long discussion here at center ice. Linesman is going to get a number. And finally, someone will skate out. Vinny Sims will be the player heading to the penalty box for the Cougars. They'll be down a defenseman as they try to kill off another Whalers opportunity, who have had a couple of good looks here, securing almost the entire 2 minutes of power play time in their possession in the Cougar zone. Shot through a crowd there. Alexander Brown got it all the way to the net. Landry with a good save. And that got away from Jack McDougall. Ty Timmins will come down on a shorthanded opportunity one-on-one. Timmins tried to skate in. It's knocked away though. And Mosher will take it back for the Whalers. Enters the zone easily. Joined there by Brown. Blocked away by Landry. Ty Timmins will slap it down the ice. So 5 seconds left in the period. That'll do it for the Frame. Sam Graves, the only goal scorer through 35 minutes here at the Emera Center North Side, as the score is 1-0 in favor of Joneljim after 2 periods of play. Shots are 33-25 in favor of the host Cougars, who will try to hang on for another 20 minutes here once we come back in about 10 minutes. Looking for their second straight win on home ice, looking for the weekend sweep against the Whalers. But the Whalers are right there and will return with 1 minute and 21 seconds of power play time when we come back after the flood here on High Button Sports. 1-0 the score. Stick around, we'll be right back. Hello everybody and welcome back. It's the third period here between the Joneljim Cougars and the Dartmouth Whalers here at the Amera Centre North Side in North Sydney, Nova Scotia. After 2 periods of play, only but a single goal has been scored. Sam Graves found the back of the net on the power play in the dying minutes of the second period. That's where we stand right now. A tight one, 33-25, the shots in favor of the Cougars. So although they have controlled portions of the game here, the Whalers have not let off, and they're not going to anytime soon as they have a minute and 21 of power play time to play here. Vinny Sims in the box after taking an interference call there in the final 40 seconds of the second period. And that's how we'll start this third period off. Whalers chance to tie the game. They're right in with it. Dartmouth in the blue and green uniforms. To your right, and in the home whites, the Joneljim Cougars to your left as it's immediately cleared down the ice by the Cougars here on this penalty killing effort. 54 seconds still to play in the frame. It's knocked up and away by Jack Taylor. Holds the line. Mason Wakeham made a shimmy shake move trying to throw off his penalty killer. Wakeham cuts to the middle of the ice at the top of the slot there, leaves it off for Henry Craig. Craig back to Wakeham. Wakeham skating around, and he found iron with that one. Hit the post. Oh, so close to the tying goal for Mason Wakeham. But a little help from old friend Mr. Post for Ryland Landry as the puck bounces up and out of play. Still another 27 seconds to play on this Vinny Sims penalty. As well, Cohen Geezer back out of the dressing room for the Cougars. He had taken a misconduct penalty in the second period, so he'll sit for the first few minutes here of the third frame. But after that, the Cougars will get a little bit of offense back as it's won by the Whalers off the draw. Wakeham played across for Henry Craig. Thought about swapping positions, but Wakeham will wheel back in. Thought about the shot. Decides to turn around once more. Drop pass for Henry Craig. Playing back and forth. Craig right into the breadbasket of Landry, who has been playing lights out as well. There's been many good scoring chances in on him here, especially from the Whalers in the last few minutes of play. But he stood tall. Still another 7 seconds here in the Whalers' power play. Still early here in the third period. In to take the draw is Jack McDougall for the Whalers, going up against Kellen Buckley of the Cougars. And Dartmouth got the puck. That's up over the head of Jax Mosher, who was tied up in front of the net for Dartmouth. Thrown right to the net after as Vinny Sims comes out of the box. We're back to even strength here. Cougars looking to work it out, and a scramble emerged in front of the Cougars net, but Joneljim is back the other way. That's Ethan Marsh with it. Marsh beats his man to the outside and stops up in the corner. He's pinned to the boards by Cole Taylor. It's a 3-on-2 scrum down in the corner. Marsh swinging away up at it. It swung down the ice. In pursuit of that is Mosher, but not quick enough as the Whalers will ice the puck here. The draw will come all the way back to the right. The goaltender, Lydia Higgs, with 18:09 to go in the third period. So a big penalty kill to begin the frame for the Cougars. They've had to contend with a couple of big penalties here that they had to kill off, which they have so far successfully done. As the puck bounced way up in the air and landed flat in the ice right off the draw. But Dartmouth is out with it with some time and space. It's Jax Mosher. Mosher tried to make a one-on-one move in on Dylan Dixon. Dixon had it in his feet. Worked back for Mosher. Now cutting to the net there was Alexander Brown, but he lost a handle on it before he got the scoring chance. Hits a couple of sticks on the way out before Zenon Parks dumps it into the opposite corner for the Cougars. Kellen Buckley is the first man on it. O'Neill lets it go from the tight angle. That's easily knocked away by Higgs. Wrap try going to the net was Kellen Buckley, but Higgs will jump on top of it for the save. Down in Dartmouth territory. Now, a shout out to the boys in Florida tuned in here from the Dixon family up here in North Sydney. Dylan Dixon, the defenseman for the Cougars, tuned into this game. We appreciate you joining us here on High Button Sports here this afternoon, or I suppose still this morning, down in the States here today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everybody for enjoying all the action here this weekend as we're in the home stretch of the Nova Scotia Under-15 Major Hockey League season. Each team in their 7th to last game, so still a few weekends of action, I should say, before the season is out for good. The Cougars will be back here for the final time of the regular season with a pair of home games on the weekend of February 21st, 22nd. The Rangers and the Novas coming to town. Meanwhile, the Whalers will have a busy road schedule to end off the regular season campaign as they try to catch up with the Western Hurricanes in the standings, with whom they've been mostly tied here for the second portion of the season. Only 2 games at the Dartmouth Sportsplex left in the Whalers' regular season, including one of their home games here right now, one of their longest trips of the season up to Cape Breton, the 4-hour drive, of course. Dartmouth Whalers take it up and out of the zone, and to the Cougars' end. It's deflected in by Gavin Sear. He was at the end of a long shift, though. So Joneljim will try to formulate a response this time. That's Marty McLeod. McLeod, his first game back in a few weeks, gets tied up with a Whalers player. Both players end up going to the ice in that one. No supplemental calls of any sort in that one. Norton Connors returns the puck on a roller into the Cougar zone. Passes up for Luke McNeil. It did hit a player up the ice. The Cougars will finish their change with a little bit of peace of mind here. Back to the short change in the third period. As they're up across the line, that went to Andy Chip. But as he took the pass, he had a teammate ahead of him. So it's offside with 16:04 to play in the third period. Draw will be in front of the Joneljim Cougars bench. Jack Taylor loses the draw to his centerman counterpart, Ty Timmins. But Wakeham comes away with it for the Whalers. Securing possession down low. Wakeham will lose an edge. He gets tied up with Sam Graves there. As Jack Taylor cuts the middle of the ice. Roller along the ice. Kicked away by Landry in really tight quarters there. As Graves put that high off the glass. That's in the feet of Cohen Geezer, who goes offside, but he's finally back out there after missing nearly an entire period there as a result of a double minor and a misconduct. And I think we're going to get a call coming up against the Whalers here. The referee was exchanging some words with the coach. It's going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and this might not be done yet as they're still talking. But either way, the Cougars will get a power play, their first of the period here. Andy Chip will head to the box to serve the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty coming from the Dartmouth bench. Draw will be to the right of Lydia Higgs once we get going here. We might have another player going as well. And this might be turning into a 5-on-3 in favor of the Cougars. They also sent Mason Wakeham to the box on the same play. One of these penalties was definitely an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. I don't know if both penalties are. But there are actually 4 players out on the ice now for the Whalers, so it'll be just a regular power play for the Cougars. Nonetheless, the power play, though, that's where the only goal of the game so far today has come from as they win the draw. Sam Graves scores in nearly the exact same spot he scored last time. A carbon copy of a shot from the face-off dot. Sam Graves, another one for the Cougars, strikes to double the lead here early in the third period for Joneljim. It's 2-0. So another power play goal here late in the game for Joneljim. Both from their captain, Sam Graves, make that a dozen on the year. His 12th goal of the season. What a year he's been having from the blue line. One of the most offensively lethal blue liners in the league as the Whalers go offside. A couple of players thought the hit on the play might have been a little late. There's a bit of a scrum after that. But it looks like they got it all sorted out now. The draw will be just outside the Cougars line. Face-off won by Dartmouth. Jax Mosher swings around. It's into the legs of Sam Graves, who clears it out. Looking for that stretch pass up for Zenon Parks, who's knocked away. As Levi Chisholm will go for a skate. Chisholm up for Mosher. Jax Mosher steered to the boards by Graves. Leaves it back for Chisholm. Under some immense pressure here by some Cougars penalty killers. Mosher winded up for the shot over on the other side of the ice. It's knocked down. Sounded like there was a whistle for a second, but sometimes that's just arena noise as play carries on. The Cougars got out of the zone as Mosher takes it back in, throws a huge hit in as the Whalers took it to the net, and we get some fireworks in after the play. As we'll see if this turns into anything. Chances are that will be a penalty as there's a Whalers player going to the net there. And Jax Mosher heading to the penalty box for Dartmouth. We'll see if that's the only penalty here. Been quite a few penalties in this game on either side. More so the penalties have been against the Whalers. But the referee signals 5-on-5 action. So those will just be coincidental minors between Mosher and Vinny Sims. So play will continue. Players are exchanging words in the penalty box between each other. Looks like there's going to be a timeout called as well. The Whalers trying to settle their heads here a little bit and cool down. So 2 goals in this hockey game, 2-0 the score in favor of the Cougars. Both goals coming from Sam Graves on the power play. Virtually identical goals. Graves with the far side shot, getting that placement down when he has the room to shoot it. And that's the difference here so far, but still lots of hockey to play here. Under 15 minutes to go here at Emera Center North Side. Only takes 2 flicks of the stick to even this thing up. And the Whalers, as we've seen, have certainly not let off the gas pedal. They've been pushing all game. They'll see if they can get one past Landry here at some point in the third period. And they'll get the draw down low in Cougars territory. And they had it for a moment, but it's into the glove of Lachlan O'Neill for Joneljim. He's going to chip it up and out. They were coincidental minors, so we will see a continued 5-on-5 action. Cone Geezer plays it back to Dylan Barry from the point. Into the glove, Lydia Higgs scores! And the Cougars jam away at it in front of the net and clean up the garbage, putting it into the net underneath the goaltender. And looks like Lachlan O'Neill will get credit for that one. A big third goal for the Cougars here early in the third period to make it 3-0. Lachlan O'Neill, a big one. Took the shot from the point from Dylan Barry. Lydia Higgs couldn't quite handle it. And O'Neill cleaned up the rebound to make it 3-0. Lachlan O'Neill, his 6th goal of the season, and Boner's in with it for the Cougars. His shot was wide. Joneljim came right back in with it, trying to make it 4-0. They came very close that time. Cougars taken over here in the most recent couple of minutes since that last power play goal for them. As O'Neill cuts in, rebound came to Luke McNeil, but the puck bounced away from him. And a big save there for Lydia Higgs. She's made a big few for the Whalers here today, and that's into the glove of Norton Connors for the Whalers. And Dartmouth gets it up and out, trying to take the play back the other way on the counterattack. Fighting off some pressure there. That was Alexander Brown coming into the zone. His shot was into the shin pads of Dylan Barry. Dixon evades a hit. Will go for a skate up through the neutral zone. Dixon cuts the middle of the ice. A shot into the breadbasket of Higgs, who will settle it down and make the save with 13:23 left to go. Now, if you missed the last few minutes, now 3-0 for the Joneljim Cougars. Sam Graves adding another one, and Lachlan O'Neill just moments ago to extend the lead to 3 for the home side here, who now have, with that last shot, 40 on the afternoon. So a big offensive showing from the Cougars here. Marty McLeod, backhand pass over the line is Braun. Braun returns it to McLeod under a quick Whalers forecheck. Johnston will deflect that down in the zone where Cone Geezer retrieves it. Centering pass to Braun. Scores! Another one here this period for the Cougars. This time Linus Braun finds the back of the net, a one-timer from his teammate Cohen Geezer. And that will make it 4-0 in the game for the Cougars. And we've seen this a couple times this weekend, the Cougars scoring in bunches. They had 3 goals about 5 minutes apart here yesterday in the second period. And they come out here in the third period and make a statement with a trio of goals about 4 minutes apart here this time. As we get a change in from the Cougars bench here a little late, with Linus Braun getting onto the score sheet now. Bang, 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 the Cougars extend their lead to 4 here in the third period, trying to put this game and this weekend series away here at home. Cohen Geezer with the toe drag attempt is knocked off the stick, with the Cougars very much in control of this one down. They're keeping the pressure on deep in Whalers territory here. McLeod knocks it down in the zone. Cohen Geezer will be to the puck first, going up against Cole Taylor. One-on-one battle ensues. Geezer walks away with it, leaves it for Johnston. Avery Johnston was looking for Geezer on the return pass, but is cleared up the wall by Cole Taylor and eventually out of the zone. Braun, scoring a moment ago, looks for the pass up to Timmins. He's going to hit his own man there. Geezer slaps a hard slapper toward the net, but actually wide of the net. The Whalers will set down their own zone. Cole Taylor sidestepping a Cougars forechecker as Dartmouth will take it down. They're looking for an answer here if they want to get a little bit of a comeback bid going. In the feet of McDougall, he couldn't get a shot off in the counterattack the other way for the Cougars. Kellen Buckley into the zone. The toe drag, lets the shot go. Higgs' shoulder, rebound, popped over, and that just missed. The Cougars inches away from a fourth third period goal. Really pushing away here with all kinds of traffic in front of that Dartmouth net. And it got away from McDougall. Buckley now a 3-on-1. Buckley joined by a pair of teammates. Oh, Parks had it, but it was a hair behind him, so he didn't get a clean shot, and we have a collision behind the play. Buckley is on the ice, or rather Parks is. So the Dartmouth Whalers will head to the penalty box once more, and the Cougars to another power play from which they've struck on their last 2 opportunities. 11:19 here to play in the third period. Cougars taking control of this one. Linus Braun moments ago making it 4-0 for the home side. So they've taken over this hockey game in this period. The Whalers going to the penalty kill. Discussion up at the Dartmouth bench here with one of the officials. There are some changes, but we'll get the puck dropped here in a second. Cohen Geezer taking the draw for Joneljim. Jack McDougall the other way for the Whalers, and Geezer wins it. Linus Braun at the top of the slot. Handcuffs it over to Dylan Barry. Down low for Geezer in the corner. Up for Braun. Over the far side, Sam Graves. He's on hat-trick watch. A pair of goals here this afternoon. Linus Braun going across the umbrella here for the Cougars amongst the 3 defense attack. Graves at the top of the close side circle. Continues to cycle through. Braun opens up for Graves. Rebound came to Johnston, but he just missed the whack. Braun down for Barry. Barry is closer to the goal line rather than the blue line. Trying to get that up, but is off a skate, and Higgs will reach up and grab it out of the air for the save. 1:24 still to go on this Cougars power play. Approaching the midway point of the third period here. An action-packed third period, at least on the score sheet anyway. 3 Cougars goals here in the third period in about a 4-minute span. Lachlan O'Neill is taking that face-off for Joneljim. He's going to win it after a tie-up. Dylan Dixon circles back, lets it go, off the pad, jabbing at it is O'Neill, looking for his second of the game. Goes back to the line for Dixon. He's going to walk out from the point to the center of the ice. Dixon has some room into the glove of Higgs, who saw that shot through traffic all the way through. We'll get a whistle with 1 minute and 2 to go now on the power play. Shots up to 45 in the game for the Cougars. The Whalers have gotten lots of opportunities on as well. They've registered 28 on Ryland Landry's net here this afternoon. Lachlan O'Neill in to take the draw again. But it's going to be won by his Whalers counterpart, Jackson LaRue, and is dumped down the ice for Dartmouth. Landry out of the net to play it. Dylan Dixon, quarterback in the second power play unit for the Cougars. Played up to the right flank where Ty Timmins will cut to the middle of the ice, gives it to Buckley. The Cougars are into the zone, they'll get set up. Buckley has it at the far side half wall. Back up top to Dixon through some coverage. Timmins up for Dixon. Skating over the arena logo. Wide side for Timmins. He's caught in below the goal line there under some pressure from Cole Taylor, but Ethan Marsh will settle it down and go for a skate along the top of the Whalers zone. Lachlan O'Neill parked in front of the net. Tried to get a screen there on Higgs, but Higgs made the save. Cole Taylor evades some pressure and gets it up midway through the D zone, but can't get enough room to clear that puck from the zone. Ty Timmins, just as the penalty is expiring, Marsh cuts in. Oh, the one-timer attempt for O'Neill. He fanned on it. Marsh missed him. As we're back to 5-on-5 action, the Whalers up out of the zone with it. It's a 4-on-2 here for Dartmouth. Cummings over to Taylor. And on the backhand attempt, Landry made a good attempt on the shot. Marty McLeod worked it up to center ice. Icing waved off. O'Neill, the lead forechecker in. He's going to pursue Luke Kostopoulos. As Luke McNeil gets away from a pair of Whalers defenders. He's going to lose a tire on that one as O'Neill also runs into a player. Back for Sam Graves, the shot. Big save by Higgs. Graves holds the zone and will skate to the middle of the ice through some coverage. O'Neill almost had another one there. The rebound popped over to him. Higgs with a great save. That bounced back to Barry. It's a siege for the Joneljim Cougars. That's off the referee. And finally cleared down the ice by the Whalers, who will just be happy with a brief break here on the icing call, although no players will be able to change here, with the Whalers really on their heels here in the third period. As mentioned, Dartmouth back in action in East Hants next weekend, playing the Rangers on February 15th. Only the one game for Dartmouth in pursuit of the 9th place spot in the 11-team league here. In the playoff race as well, the Cougars sit in the 8th spot right now. Play 2 games next weekend. A road trip as a big hit is thrown there by Cason Norton-Connors, the defenseman. Sam Graves walks in, and some traffic in front of the net. There's going to be a penalty coming up. Dylan Barry touches up. It looks like that's going to go against the Cougars. It's an interference, be goalie interference that'll be called against Zenon Parks. So the Whalers will get a late third period power play here to try and get on the board 1 or 2 times. They made a comeback bid yesterday, so it ain't over till it's over. As the Cougars take a goalie interference penalty here, it'll come back to Joneljim's zone. Left to Landry, who's been strong here this afternoon. Cone Geezer taking the defensive zone draw for the Killers, with Alexander Brown out there on the power play unit for the Whalers, and they'll win the faceoff. But Linus Braun is right up there for Joneljim to clear it down the ice. So that's the Whalers' schedule next week. The one game against the Rangers, The Cougars going on a road trip to Shelburne to play the Western Hurricanes. Hurricanes are the team that the Whalers are chasing the standings right now as Geezer steals it. It's a breakaway for Cohen. Geezer in. He loses it though as Lydia Higgs at the same time got the stick out for the poke check, so Geezer can't score on the shorthanded attempt. And then after the Western Hurricanes game next weekend on February 14th, on their drive back to Cape Breton, the Cougars will stop in New Glasgow to play the third place Whalewell Bombers at the Pictou County Wellness Center. Minute 12 to go in this Dartmouth Whalers power play. Struggling to get set up on this one, including that shorthanded breakaway from Cohen Geezer as they go offside. Draw will be in front of the Cougars bench. We hear another whistle behind the play, probably just a few words being exchanged between the players. And remember, the Whalers are missing leading scorer Mason Wakeham. He's sitting in the box right now serving a misconduct penalty. He's been there since about 5 minutes into the third period, so should be only a couple of minutes before the Whalers get an important piece back out there. Luke Kostopoulos off the clear is the first to retrieve the puck for Dartmouth. He'll quarterback the power play unit out. Skating up through the center ice logo for Levi Chisholm on the left side. Chisholm coming up against Dixon is going to hit the brakes in the corner. And the Whalers will get set up here with 38 seconds to go on the power play. Kostopoulos through a crowd that's up over the head of Ryland Landry. Swung around in behind. He's trying to jam at that one was Carson Johnson. He's going to mishandle it, and the penalty killers are up with it. Dylan Dixon, the defenseman, lets a shot go from the perimeter. Easily knocked away by Higgs. Big hit there from Luke McNeil, and he's going to get a penalty for that. It's a boarding call. It's in the danger zone there, a couple feet from the board, so you'll see that penalty called, and he's going to head to the box here. So we're going to get a 17-second 5-on-3 power play for the Dartmouth Whalers. At which point, Zenon Parks will step out of the box for the Cougars, and we'll go back to a 5-on-4. So that'll extend the power play, at the very least, for the Dartmouth Whalers here, with exactly 6 minutes left on the clock here at Emera Center North Side. So draw will be to the left of Landry. It's tied up off the draw. A trio of Whalers trying to get that puck back. Sam Gray's pinning that himself to the boards. It's a vicious battle in the corner. Ty Timmins also coming in there as support for the Cougars, and that is going to kill off the entire 17 seconds. It's a frozen puck, but a very captainly play there by Sam Grays of the Cougars off the draw to hold it himself along the boards. We saw him do that a couple times yesterday against the Whalers, hold it along the boards there to kill off the clock. That's all the Cougars need to do. But that will bring an end to the 5-on-3 for the Whalers, but still 5-on-4 for another minute 39 as Zenon Parks comes right out of the box and will go for a rush himself. Move through the legs, but good play by Luke Kostopoulos of the Whalers to take the body and push Parks away from a scoring chance. Tied up in the corner is Levi Chisholm, trying to skate that puck out, stolen by Ty Timmins only for a moment as Andy Chip comes back in support for Dartmouth. Played up for Alexander Brown, he's into the zone. Brown cuts over the side, nice move on the fake, and tried to get that centering pass over to Kostopoulos, who charged the net. Chisholm's also parked in front of the goal. Tried to play it down for Brown, but it's picked off there as a pair of Cougars collided with each other. Sam Graves collided with Ty Timmins, so Joneljim has to retreat back into their own zone. They have to kill for another 50-ish seconds here. Graves, cross-ice pass, relies Braun will pick it up. It was a 2-on-1, but Graves retreated. He was at the end of a long shift, and Braun opts to dump it down too. Whalers will slow things down in behind their net. Jack Taylor, bit of a fake kick, up for Cole Taylor. Gets it into the zone, rolled over to Norris and Connors, but he couldn't handle it. It's past him. Zenon Parks had the puck for a moment for the Cougars, but he's knocked off it as well in the neutral zone. Gavin Sear is up the ice. Across the red line, then the blue. Tried to fake step into the middle of the ice, but he had a teammate a step ahead of him. Offside. Another 12 seconds to play before Luke McNeil steps out of the box for the Cougars, and we return to 5-on-5 play. Some hope here for the Whalers, though, as Mason Wakeham's misconduct penalty is finally over. He's going to head to the bench. I don't imagine it'll be long until we see him back out here. And the draw is won by the Whalers. Alert stick there by Ethan Marsh to cause some havoc. Drops for Kellen Buckley. Shot looking for the high blocker on Lydia Higgs, and she makes a good save. Luke McNeil out of the box for back to 5-on-5. McNeil with the poke check in the neutral zone as Gavin Sear danced in to the Cougars zone there. And Sear still got the shot off the rebound. Landry with a couple of saves from the left side there. The puck eluded Marsh as it rolled by him as he was skating through the neutral zone, but now him and his line mates will head off here in the last 4 minutes of the hockey game, and almost mishandling that in front of the net. And it's a giveaway. 2-on-0 for the Whalers, and Landry slides across and will cover up. Dylan Barry tried to skate that out and mishandled it, and we get a little bit of antics after the whistle. And there is going to be a call on that. It's a slashing minor that's going to be coming up. And I think the Whalers might have whacked away at the goaltender Landry after the play, and that'll be the call. Ollie Bruce heading to the box for Dartmouth. So the Cougars will get a power play here in the dying moments of this hockey game. Still hanging on to a 4-0 lead. The offense came out to play here in the third frame for Joneljim. A trio of goals. Sam Graves got it going. Lachlan O'Neill added another one later. And then Linus Braun to make the score to where it is now, and that's Braun with the puck. Now tipped down low by Alex Boner out here on the power play, but it's one and done. It's rimmed up around the boards by the Whalers and down the ice here. 3:09 left to go in the game. Unless there's a goal, this power play will take us to roughly the final minute. Sam Graves has a pair of goals here this afternoon. Maybe looking for another one to get some hats thrown on the ice here at the Mayor Center North Side. We'll see. Linus Braun leaves it for Graves. Graves has some room. The shot. Oh, blocker save by Higgs. Higgs has his number now as Graves has scored on the blocker side a couple of times, and she made a big kick save there as well, keeping the Cougars from getting another one here late. As Braun with a stutter step shakes off McDougall over to Graves. Graves opts to pass it to Braun. On the return pass, a good stick there by the penalty killer. McDougall throws it to the net, looking for an unsuspecting bounce perhaps, but it bounces back to Graves. Braun over in the high slot. Graves will cut in. Oh, he was looking for the blocker side again, but he missed the net only by a couple of inches. Braun on the fake. Now Graves a shot, and just getting a piece of that with the glove is Lydia Higgs, a shooting gallery on the Dartmouth net, who are now on a 2-on-1. Breakaway now for the Whalers. In on net and losing an edge with the defenders from the Cougars coming back on the back check. Sam Graves was coming back with a head of steam there, trying to keep that out of his net. An excellent chance there for Jack McDougall on the penalty kill, coming in on the breakaway and almost getting the Whalers on the board here late. Excellent game for Landry. He's made 30 saves. That was his 30th save of the game there. Has had the Whalers number here this afternoon. As the Cougars win the draw, they still have another 30 seconds on the power play. It's going to be Dylan Barry carrying it out. Barry played it up, and a big hit there. It actually opened the bench. Vinny Sims was the recipient of that, and he was shaken up, and he's going to the bench in pain. Hope he's all right after that one. Those are always scary hits. A very thunderous one at the Whalers' door, as it's cleared up and out of the zone by the Cougars. Dylan Dixon will take a lap just as Ollie Bruce returns to the ice. So we're back to 5-on-5 action. Minute 18 to go in the game. Dixon throws it down into the corner. Cole Taylor to pick it up, and there's going to be a penalty behind the play. And maybe a couple of penalties. Looks like the referee is signaling toward a pair of players. And that'll probably do it for the game for Dylan Dixon, and some more activity here at the Whalers blue line. And now the punches are going to be thrown. A couple of swings in at least 3 or 4 different instances. Punches being thrown down here on the ice. Sam Graves, Cohen Geezer, Marty McLeod in there. Ollie Bruce as well for the Whalers. Mason Wakeham in the mix there for Dartmouth as well, and Cole Taylor, and they're not done. Remember, Cohen Geezer is throwing punches. Geezer has already served a lengthy suspension this year for fighting, so he might want to be careful, but I think we're going to get some disciplinary action after this, as Bruce is hurt on the ice for the Whalers. Shaken up pretty badly as emotions boil over here with a minute 13 left in the game, and I don't think they're done. Wakeham is coming back out of the tunnel. He wants to exchange a few more words with the Cougars bench, with sticks and helmets all over the ice here at Emera Center North Side, as a couple of heated Whalers players, as well as one or two from the Cougars, will head down to the dressing room. So the notepad is out for the referee. We'll see what these penalty assessments turn into, as it's been a very physical weekend series here. A lot of penalties, especially in this game, between both of the teams, including for after whistle antics. We've been seeing that all weekend. And finally, after the whistle there, not technically fighting, nobody dropped the gloves to go at it, but clearly punches being thrown from players from both of the teams here. So we'll get some penalties sorted out. Linesman going around cleaning up the sticks, figuring who belongs to who. Linesman also having to keep an eye on each of the teams here, that they don't go skating back to each other. As we wait to see what the calls turn into. Referees are ready to explain some penalty calls to each of the bench. They're over at the Cougars bench right now. One of the officials is anyway, still picking up debris up off the ice here late in this game. The Cougars likely to pull out the win here. They'll grab 6 points here at home, winning consecutive games for the first time here in the new calendar year. Hanging on to 8th place in the standings. With the win, it'll move them 1 point back of 6th place, so the Valley Wildcats and the Rangers are both teams with 30 points, tied for 6th place. Of course, both those teams are playing today, so things on that end of things, standing-wise, could change by the time we're done here, by the time we're done with under 15 action at the end of the day. Still talking over penalties down by the timekeeper's bench. There's a pair of players already in the box here, Gavin Sear and an offsetting player for the Cougars. They had gotten in a scrum in behind the play. They were off the ice before the fireworks erupted. Looks like there's some words being exchanged between the coaches from each of the benches as well. Firing some verbal jabs at one another through the glass. Players from each team still standing out in front of their benches, not that far from each other, and they're talking to each other as well. As we just seen a few moments ago, it doesn't take much for a couple of words to boil over. 1 minute and 13 seconds left here in this hockey game. A 4-0 score in favor of the Cougars. Been on a break here the last few minutes as some borderline fights, skirmishes anyway, broke out. Looked like about 3 players from each team were going up against, pairing up and throwing punches. Now it's up to the discretion of referees if that gets called for a fight or some other offense that might warrant additional disciplinary action outside of this game. Of course, every call like this is crucial heading into the home stretch. With playoffs just around the corner, nobody wants anybody, or no one team wants anybody on their team out for too long of a period of time. You can see the heads of the officials on your screens down by the penalty bench. They're talking over what the penalties are going to be and how to arrange them. Probably be writing some game incident reports afterwards as well. Teams are just hanging out over by their benches waiting for action to resume. So that appears like that's going to do it. The Joneljim Cougars will take the win. They're going to call the game. The clock running down here at the Emera Center North Side. Team's going to head to the rooms as the referees will focus on getting their game reports done. Rylan Landry, though, is fired up for the Joneljim Cougars, and his teammates are happy for him. The 30-save shutout for the goaltender. Hasn't been an easy season at times for him, sporting a 2-10 record. Obviously not ideal, but he made some crucial saves at crucial times here to secure the win. And the fans here at Emera Center North Side are loving that as the teams will head to the bench and call it a game and call it a series as the Cougars take the full 6 points at home here this weekend over the Dartmouth Whalers and win this game by a 4-0 score, out shooting Dartmouth by a 55-30 margin, stealing the game away with a dominant third period, especially with 3 goals in the late frame. And the shutout, of course, as they prepare for a couple of games on the road here next week. Well, thank you for tuning in this afternoon to High Button Sports for this matchup. My name is Luke Diamond. It was a pleasure helping bring the game to you here this afternoon. So long for now, and good afternoon from North Sydney.